Do you feel stuck, like you're wading through mud, overwhelmed by the noise of modern life and feeling powerless to make a real change? Maybe you're on a path you never chose, carrying burdens that aren't yours to carry. The gap between who you are and who you want to be feels like it's getting wider every single day. That feeling, that quiet desperation, isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign you're ready to rebuild. This isn't just another motivational speech. This is your roadmap. We're going to walk through 9 ancient practical exercises from the Stoics to help you reclaim your power and truly begin again. Your fresh start begins now. First up, live according to nature. No, this doesn't mean you have to sell your stuff and move into a cabin in the woods. It means aligning your actions with your highest self, your unique human ability to reason and be virtuous. The modern world is constantly trying to pull us off course, telling us to chase things that ultimately leave us feeling empty. More status, more gadgets, more fleeting pleasures. We feel that sense of unease because the life we're living doesn't line up with our values. The Stoics believed the whole point of life was to live in agreement with nature, which for humans means using our reason to live a good life. Zeno of Citium, the man who started Stoicism, taught that this alignment is the key to a smooth-flowing life. It's about choosing to be the best version of yourself. Here's the practical part: the daily virtue audit. Every evening, take 5 minutes to review your day. Ask yourself, did I act with wisdom today? Did I show self-control? Did I treat people fairly? Did I face my challenges with courage? Write down one small adjustment for tomorrow. For example, tomorrow I'll practice temperance by waiting 10 minutes before making an impulse purchase. This simple audit reconnects your daily actions to your highest values, starting your reset from the inside out. All right, principle number 2 tackles something we all struggle with: reclaiming your power by practicing the dichotomy of control. So much of our anxiety comes from wasting energy on things we can't change. We stress about the economy, what other people think of us, the traffic, past mistakes, you name it. That feeling of powerlessness, it comes from focusing on things outside of your control. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught a game-changing lesson. Some things are up to us, and some are not. The only things truly in our control are our own judgments, choices, and actions. Everything else, our health, our reputation, what our boss does, is ultimately not. Epictetus believed most of our unhappiness comes from a simple mistake, thinking we have control over things we absolutely don't. The exercise for this is the morning dichotomy list. When you wake up, grab a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On one side, write "in my control." On the other, "not in my control." Now, list your worries for the day in the correct column. Maybe give a focused, well-prepared presentation is in your control, but how my boss reacts to it is not. Consciously decide to let go of everything on that second list. Literally cross it out. Your only job is to focus your energy on the first list. This single habit frees up an incredible amount of mental space and puts you back in the driver's seat. Principle 3 is the powerful idea that the obstacle is the way. It's human nature to see a roadblock as a dead end. A project fails, a relationship ends, a career path closes up. We feel defeated, thinking our progress has been stopped cold. We see the obstacle as the end of the road. But the Stoics taught that the obstacle is the road. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the art of turning any setback into fuel for a new kind of action. Within every obstacle is a hidden opportunity to practice a virtue: patience, creativity, resilience, you name it. The exercise is the obstacle pivot drill. The next time you feel blocked, just pause. Instead of focusing on the door that just closed, ask yourself, okay, what new path did this just open up? What can I do now? Brainstorm 3 adaptive actions you can take. For example, if a meeting gets cancelled at the last minute, can you use that hour to finally outline that project, read that important document, or mentor a junior colleague? By training yourself to pivot immediately from setback to action, you turn problems into progress. Principle 4 is all about mastering self-control and temperance. Let's be honest, we live in the age of instant gratification. Our impulses are constantly being triggered by notifications, ads, and the endless scroll. This lack of self-control creates chaos inside our minds, making us slaves to our desires instead of masters of ourselves. We feel scattered and weak because we give in to every little whim. The Stoics saw temperance as one of the 4 cardinal virtues. It's the practice of moderation, of mastering your impulses so you can wisely choose what's worth pursuing. Seneca, a prominent Stoic, taught that true wealth isn't about having a lot, but about wanting very little. Temperance isn't about depriving yourself, it's about freeing yourself from the tyranny of desires that don't actually matter. The practical application is the impulse pause. The next time you feel a strong urge to check your phone for the 10th time, to buy something you don't need, to eat that junk food, force a mandatory 10-second pause. In that tiny window, ask yourself one simple question. Is this action essential for my well-being? Most of the time, the answer will be a clear no. That little gap between impulse and action is where you find your power. You weaken the bad habit and strengthen your self-discipline, one pause at a time. Principle 5 is about exercising justice and contributing to the common good. In a world that screams, me, 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 it's easy to become isolated and forget we're all part of a larger human community. We might act unfairly in small ways, ignore our responsibilities, or fail to stand up for others. This disconnect from our social duty leads to a life that feels hollow and purposeless. For the Stoics, justice wasn't just about courtrooms and laws. It was about fairness, kindness, and doing our part. They believed we have a duty to treat others with respect and act in ways that benefit everyone. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that humans are made for one another and that we can do wrong by inaction just as much as by action. To put this into practice, try the daily kindness audit. Each day, consciously look for one opportunity to act with fairness. It could be giving a colleague the credit they deserve, truly listening to a family member without interrupting, or helping a stranger. Perform one specific, just act. Then, in the evening, reflect, did my action promote fairness? This daily practice builds the habit of looking beyond yourself and re-establishes your role as a positive force in the world. Principle 6 is about building courage by intentionally facing what makes you uncomfortable. We spend so much of our lives trying to avoid discomfort. We dodge difficult conversations, shy away from physical challenges, and run from the possibility of failure. But a life built around avoiding fear is a very small life. True courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting rightly despite the fear. The Stoics taught that courage is about knowing what's truly scary, a life without virtue, and what's just an external challenge. To build this muscle, they practiced voluntary discomfort. As Seneca wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. By willingly taking on small, manageable hardships, we train ourselves to handle the real, unavoidable adversities of life. The exercise for this is the fear exposure ladder. First, list 3 small fears that hold you back. Maybe it's making a cold call, taking a 30-second cold shower, or speaking up in a meeting. Start with the easiest one. Before you do it, give yourself a mantra. This is not a threat to my character, only a test of my courage. Each week, tackle a slightly harder challenge. By gradually and systematically exposing yourself to what you fear, you expand your comfort zone and build the fortitude to face life's real battles. Principle 7 is about using wisdom to make clear, rational judgments. Our minds are often a storm of emotions, biases, and knee-jerk reactions. We make bad decisions when we're angry. We worry based on assumptions instead of facts, and we let our feelings run the show. This lack of clear judgment is a primary source of our mistakes and suffering. For the Stoics, wisdom was the chief virtue. It's the ability to see the world clearly, apply logic, understand what is truly good or bad, and make sound decisions. It's about seeing things as they are, not as our emotions paint them. Marcus Aurelius famously practiced this by mentally breaking down a fancy wine into mere grape juice to strip it of its unearned status and see it for what it was. A powerful exercise from Seneca is the triple role self-trial. When you're facing a tough decision, take 3 minutes to argue the case from 3 different perspectives. First, act as the prosecutor. What are all the potential downsides and flaws of this choice? Second, be the defense attorney. What are all the benefits and reasons to go for it? Finally, act as the judge. Weigh the evidence from both sides and deliver a rational verdict. By externalizing the debate, you separate your emotions from the facts and arrive at a much wiser conclusion. Principle 8 is to find a role model to hold you accountable. When we're trying to reset our lives, it's way too easy to drift. We make excuses, let ourselves off the hook, and aren't always honest about our own progress. Without a benchmark for excellence, our commitment starts to fade. The Stoics knew this, and they understood the power of role models. Seneca famously advised his friend Lucilius to choose a Cato, to pick a person of impeccable character and live as if they were always watching. This figure, whether it's a philosopher like Marcus Aurelius or a personal mentor you admire, acts as an external conscience. It forces you to ask, am I living up to the standards of the person I admire most? The practical exercise is the model checkpoint. Choose one role model known for a virtue you want to build, maybe Epictetus for resilience or your grandmother for her integrity. At the end of each day, do a simple check-in. Ask yourself, would my role model approve of my actions today? Where did I fall short of their example? Identify one specific thing to do better tomorrow. This practice gives you a clear external standard and holds you accountable to becoming the highest version of yourself. Our final principle is to embrace everything that happens and remember your time is scarce, a concept combining amor fati and memento mori. We spend so much of our lives fighting reality, wishing things were different. We regret the past and dread the future. This constant struggle against what is creates enormous suffering and wastes our most precious resource, time. We live as if we have an infinite supply, always putting off the life we actually want to live. The Stoics taught an acceptance of fate. The 19th century philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche would later coin a term for a similar idea, amor fati, a love of fate. This means not just accepting, but embracing everything that happens, good or bad, as necessary and an opportunity. Paired with this is memento mori, the remembrance that you will die. This isn't supposed to be dark and morbid. It's meant to create urgency and clarity. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you shouldn't fear death, but you should fear never beginning to live. The exercise is a simple memento mori ritual. Each morning, take one moment to acknowledge that your time is finite. Ask yourself, if this were my last day, what is the one essential thing I would do to make it count? Then, in the evening, practice amor fati by reflecting on the day's events, both the good and the bad, and affirming your acceptance of them. This dual practice forces you to cut out what's non-essential and live every day with purpose, gratitude, and a profound sense of peace. A true reset isn't some dramatic one-time explosion. It's the quiet result of small, repeated choices. It's built day by day through the consistent practice of these timeless principles. You have the roadmap, you have the tools. You now have what you need, not just to start over, but to become the architect of your own life. The power was never out there. It was always in your next choice. If you are ready to commit to your fresh start, type "I am the architect" in the comments below. Like this video to share the wisdom and subscribe to continue your journey with us.